Let's discuss. Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another video, and today I will be finishing up the Wise Man's Fears album, Atlas Ruinica, which I've heard everything except 2 tracks now. One that came out last year, which would be The Absence of Light, and then the closing track, which came out with the full album in January of 2023, which would be this year at the time I'm filming this. Solomon's Gate is the name of that track. I'm very stoked to check this out. I have loved this album thus far. It's hard to pick a favorite. There are some big hooks in the choruses, like Sea of Fire is a great example of that. There are just quite a few tracks. It's hard for me to pick a favorite at this time. A bit of variety that's been offered, so I'm excited to see that. We will see what these 2 tracks are about. I will link both the videos I'll be using as well as all of the Wise Man's Fears social media in the description of this video. Other than that, I'm going to stop talking and we are going to get straight into it. Okay, with that synth too. Woohoo! Oh, good. No. I've never heard a build-up like this. Or not? Probably still, but yeah. Variety vocally is wide. Well, The Wise Man's Fear, The Absence of Light. We're going to check out Solomon's Gate now. Then we'll discuss. Closing track.
Follow the call and step beyond, 'cause the gate is ready. It's time to touch the light. Go and ponder every life. You will grow to understand the intertwine. Then you say, are you ready? Are you ready? 'Cause the gate's about to close, and it'll swallow you whole. The weight of the many is too heavy to carry on your own. I think it's ready to go.
Whoa.
Through the entry, 'cause the gate's about to close, and it'll swallow you whole.
Ooh.
The weight of the many is too heavy to carry on your own.
Okay.
It's ready to go.
Yeah.
I feel it drawing me, and I'm magnetized. The fabric of things we see is one cell of a greater life. So go
Lots of
seek
atmosphere.
out every sign, 'cause the gate is open. It's time to touch the light. Now the worlds begin to spin through the eyes of men. I end where it begins. Go through the entry, 'cause the gate's about to close, and it'll swallow you whole.
Yeah, I love that.
The weight of the many is too heavy to carry on your own. I think it's ready to go.
At the same time, you got a lot of melody back there too.
Pouring stars into the sea, and it lasts again will
Hey, yeah. I knew I heard them keys.
follow me through the door to the other side. Join me here where our worlds collide. Are you ready? Are you ready? 'Cause the gate's about to close, and it'll swallow you whole. Go through the entry, 'cause the gate's about to close, and it'll swallow you whole.
Yeah.
The weight of the many is too heavy to carry on your own.
Yeah, them vocals will drive that catchiness. I keep on saying them today.
This is the end of my story. We meet again. The sky has been emptied, spiraling through the clouds. This is the end of my story. We meet again. The sky has been emptied, spiraling through the clouds. Spiraling through the clouds. Through the clouds. Spiraling through the clouds.
Okay, closing. The wise man's fear, the absence of light, and Solomon's gate. Let's discuss. Very solid. I almost expected the absence of light to be a like a firefall sort of situation. That's off their album Valley of Kings. But I do think with the album overall, maybe it would have helped them a little bit having it be, you know, I love the chorus on it, and I found like the chanting build up really interestingly placed, because in my mind when that came up I was like, oh, this is a build up to a breakdown, but it really wasn't. It had like a prolonged kind of a build up effect, and then the breakdown came a bit later, like the one that sort of smashed in the way I expected that to be leading up to. So it wasn't, I don't want to say it's predictable or anything. And I love that in this there's so much atmosphere with that. You can just hear a lot going on. And the progression in that chorus riff, or like the chorus guitar work really overall, there's a lot in here that's got like the right groove to it. The production on here is just what I've said about all the other singles too. It's a huge factor. It sounds outstanding, and it really makes it so like, you know, when it's real groovy, that needs to hit you in the right ways so you can hear the difference in those parts that don't necessarily do the same thing. I did think like towards the end there was a bit of screaming that sounded even like different from which we've got variety. I had mentioned in the video at some point, a lot of vocal variety on here. So I did find it like, I need to listen in full basically though to the album, because again, these are the last 2 tracks I've needed to finish the album, so now I need to run through it in full and kind of really make a proper call on that. But I do think with the wide range that they've got going on, it would shake things up a little bit to kind of lack that like the big hooks and the sort of flexing with the, and I'm saying flexing because it sounds good, and it's very clearly talent that it takes to go from the style of chorus and some of the notes that are have the little spice on them and things like that, to some of the screams that you get here, and some of the, like, not even just the lows either. The highs are sounding top of the game for, so it keeps expanding vocally. But I do think, yeah, maybe just having this one be like that ass beater track all the way through and through would have been a little bit of a breath of heavy air. I don't know, but again, I haven't even listened in full, and I loved both the tracks too, so it doesn't really matter. That's just in like, and the way they released it too, I guess that's a bit different than if they had released it all at once. So I'm not really sure. I need to do more listening, and which I'm very glad I did listen to this the way that I did, even though I didn't necessarily intend to. There was a few times when I was just having a rough time getting stuff done last year, and so like things fell to the back burner, and then eventually it was like, you know what, this album I'm gonna have some extra to listen to if I just wait. So that's really why I ended up doing so. But I'm glad that I did, because like this track being new to me, The Absence of Light, which other people have had for I think like 4 or 5 months now, that'll be very nice for me. And that's one I again, I don't want what I said before to make it sound like I didn't enjoy that, because you have a lot to kind of unpack with these 2 songs. I'll get to Solomon's Gate here in a moment, but with The Absence of Light, it definitely has that like edge to it. Probably one of the heavier, like the heaviest that I heard on here. I need to re-listen to like Tailspin and kind of weigh that out, but it has the, you know, that kind of cut to it. The lyrics on both of these, so now I can go through and read everything in full. I've obviously heard a few of these songs quite a few times, but I think I'll do even more listening, even to the ones I enjoyed the most. Now that I have this A Sea of Fire chorus, it's just that's going to be a really standout moment for me. So again, it's not to say that I don't appreciate those things, especially with that being one of the most standout moments on this record, when there are a lot to pick from, because it's not your straightforward, the details really matter here, and you can tell how much effort goes into that, and you can hear that it translates very well. So for that to be one of my favorite moments, obviously I really enjoy the strong hooks, the big choruses like that. It's done they have always done an outstanding job with that too. Now for Solomon's Gate, definitely does the album justice as a closing track, and the lyrics being the end of my story, that's from Tailspin, so it was like a nod back further in the album, but bringing that around at the literal end of the story. I'm sure most of y'all watching this probably know that the Wise Man's Fear is a concept band. There is a story in all of this, so bringing that back around just a detail that I love. But also, as I had mentioned, hearing those keys, hearing the atmosphere, some of the vocal work, like kind of driving the melody, like towards the end where you have that, what I had mentioned there, that's gonna drive that catchiness much further for me. I'm not sure what it is about that. Just a whole lot to love here. Again, I have to mention production here again, because it's just so key. Hearing all of those things that you can hear, the little pieces to like take apart. And I'm sure after one, like I've only heard the track one time, but with some more, there will be more things to pick up on. Like I said, I still need to read through with the lyrics, but this feels like a track that certainly does the album justice, having, you know, the riff in the chorus, and not even just that one, across the guitar work, a bit of variety in the style that you're getting. And like I had mentioned with some of the progression in The Absence of Light, that stands with this track as well, although they're two completely different feels for that like feel. Words are hard apparently. Anyway, but the overall, you know, mood of these tracks and style really are very different. Solomon's Gate kept it clean with the vocals, but it still has like what I was talking about with some of the guitar work and stuff. Like it takes those moments to like nod to the heavier parts of the album as well, instead of keeping it like just a fully light sounding track on the outro, which I think is necessary here, especially being something like with such an involved story, if that makes sense. I'm not really sure why I feel that way. I just do. I think it's and also probably the expectation they've set for themselves with how detailed and well thought out things seem to be when it comes to not only their music but the story, all of that stuff. So it felt like it did justice to the album, which is probably pretty difficult to do with something like this. I think it would probably be easy to go one way or the other for me, more easily the other, but they continuously do so. And I can't compare this, I don't think, to Valley of Kings. Normally I can do a little bit of like, oh yeah, like but for whatever reason, Valley of Kings has a much different feel for me than this does. The flute breakdown, a lot of what went wrong's chorus, but then when it comes to the stuff with like that chorus that I just mentioned, I do feel like there are a lot of similarities here, but you have new things that are, you know, the equivalent of the flute breakdown on that album, little clever things like I had just mentioned, bringing back around some lyrics in the closing track from earlier in the story. Those types of things I really like look for with the Wise Man's Fear, and makes me appreciate them more. I like the features they did. Obviously there's only one or two, actually Lauren as well. There's one with like feature from Spawn. Sure, okay. Obviously I'm familiar with Nathan. I'm familiar with Lauren Babick as well, but there are a few people who I then need to check out their bands, like Jordan on Solomon's Gate. That's going to be a band I need to check out. Seraphim, I think it was, or I could be mispronouncing that too because I don't have it in front of me. Did my best, but yeah, there's a lot here. I'm going to do, like I said, a listen in full now that I finally have the pieces I've been waiting for to put it together. But that's just a quick overview of my thoughts after getting the last two pieces. For me, let me know what you thought in the comments. Again, I'm not sure. There are some big moments like Sea of Fire chorus that make that track a heavy contender for me, but there are a few others as well, so I'm going to need to make a decision at some point. But this will be something that stays on rotation for me, and again, I think the way that I listen definitely added to how much I'll listen going forward from here, instead of if I had done it piece by piece throughout as they came out, if that makes sense. So all of the social media promotional links for the Wise Man's Fear, any type of merch I can find, the two videos I used in this reaction, that will all be in the description of this video. Make sure if you enjoyed this and you haven't yet, go give them some love on it. They did a wonderful job. So other than that, you can also find my link tree in the description. That, as always, will have the links that you may need for my channel. Patreon will be in there. I have been working very hard on the Patreon content. I am struggling today. I thank you very much to everybody who has signed up. It's been a much bigger response than I had expected in rolling it out, and I've had a lot of fun working on the ideas and the stuff that is to come and has been coming out on there. You can also find the Discord invite link in the link tree. That is where the community for my YouTube channel is based. There are a lot of really wonderful people in there. We've got music-related conversation unrelated to music as well, just community of people who enjoy music. So if you're interested in coming to join and check it out, that will be there, as well as, like I said before, any link you may need to my channel, for my channel. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.